Hello and welcome to this next video of editing the Gatsby Starter Blog. And in this video, we are going to be editing the footer. As you can see on my screen here, this is the navigation that we were working on in the first video. We made this left side here, and we created the site title, and we added the navigation here. So in this video, we are going to be adding the footer navigation. So in this case, it's just social media and links to my previous portfolio versions. And so yes, in this video, that's what we will be building. Okay, let us begin. So in the previous video, this is what we left off on. So we have this left navigation here, I believe. Yes, so the footer is all set, or I'm sorry, the mobile view is all set. So when you go below 768 pixels, the navigation goes from the left to the top. And instead of it being a column of navigation here, it goes to inline. And I'm using inline flex and also flex column for this. So let's dive into the code. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna leave off or start where we left off. Where we left off was I added the navigation component onto our layout component, and this layout component was already in the Gatsby Starter Blog. So I'm just going off of what this guy did, and it's an awesome starter blog. And I'm going to use the functionality of the blog later in a video where I'll use it for a blog, I'll use it for portfolio pieces, and that's basically it, I guess. But for this video, we're just focusing on the footer navigation. So, so we built a navigation component last time. So as you might have guessed, we're going to make a footer component this time. Show recording. So let's go here and we'll do a footer. You can name this whatever you'd like, but footer.js. Yeah, okay. So similar to what we did last time, which is navigation. Let me close that. I'm going to use the same information, I believe. Yes. Yep, we're going to use the same stuff. Now, I had this previously. I had navigation under one component, but I had to split it up because when we go to a mobile view, the footer is going to be on the bottom here, and the header is obviously going to be on top. So this bar on the left side had to be split into two. And so I decided to make two components. So this is the desktop view, and this right down here is the mobile view. And as you can see, it splits into two. And that's what we will be working on. So let's go here. Let's continue on our footer. We're going to be using the same colors. Object, so we have that. Go ahead and save that, and let me reference what I had built previously. Okay, I'm going to import I'm going to copy and paste the export in which I built before, and we can walk through this. So I'm doing an export, just the default function. And in this case, this is GraphQL, and I have a data variable, and it is referencing GraphQL. And within this GraphQL, we are getting the site metadata, which references to where we wrote it, which is in our Gatsby config file. So let me give you a side-by-side view. Footer. Okay, so site title, just like previously, my site title is just Chris. site menu or submenu. So in this case, we will be using submenu because, oops, in our Figma, this is our submenu. So social media and these two links. So in this case, we have the name, v1 and v2, and they're links to outside sources. Because they are links to outside sources, that you don't get the SEO improvements or the Gatsby improvements of having them within Gatsby and having no load time. Then that's part of the feature that you get when you use Gatsby and you use their link component that comes built in. But that's okay because I mean it's an outside link, it's fine, but the majority of our site will be internal links, and we can get that Gatsby benefit. So we have that, the submenu. We have to include the link, we have to include the name, and then also for social, which I don't know if I included that. Yeah, so what I'm including is my Twitter, email, LinkedIn, and GitHub. So right now I just have my Twitter, so I'm going to add the remaining, which I'm just going to copy and paste because why not? Okay, so I'm going to include these, so you will have these, you will see these, and please be nice. Okay. And okay. So so yes, you have these. You see social, and then yeah, just feel free to remove those and add in whatever yours are, and then you can have them. And I have GitHub, it's the same as my Twitter. Let's go down. So Twitter, what are these referencing? So in this case, my Twitter is a key, and the value will be the file path. And the file path, this basically is just getting an image, and it's saying it's a fixed width and a fixed height. And yeah, so that the Gatsby image is kind of funny, I guess. It's kind of tricky, but once you get the hang of it, you can just, it's just copy and pasting basically of importing this in. So in this case, I am using child image sharp, and I want to make sure I have that in my Gatsby config, which I should. Gatsby image. Oops. Oh, maybe I don't. If I do not, I need to get it. Just referencing my other site. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I think that should work, but now we just need to return basically what's going to be put on the page, similar to what we did on the navigation. I'm going to close this. Should be good on that. So you need to define these variables, and in this case we want the social and the submenu because we are going to be putting those on the page. So in this case, submenu right here and social right here. So if you're curious on what this means, it basically means it's taking this site or data.site.site metadata. You can go back up here. You have data.site, and it's just going down the object chain, and then you go to site metadata, and then within that object, you have the site menu or submenu, and also social should be in there too. Yes. So everything in here is the site metadata. So I'm getting social, And then we can just say like social.twitter, and that should show up, whatever link we put in. I will just pull this out. So similar to what we did with the navigation, we are going to be using style components. And then with style components, it is going to have, instead of like a div, it'll say footer. It's whatever we want to name it. So I'll just copy and paste that in. And save that. So let's style these. So I already did this, so I'm just copying it in here. Again, I'm uploading this to my GitHub. Feel free, take it, use it, whatever. So I'm going to build this up here. I'm going to add const footer for the style component. And then I'll just do a couple, and then I'll just end up copying, pasting them in. Footer, and like this. So the style.footer, that means this is like a footer tag. This could be a div tag, this could be an anchor tag, could be a paragraph tag. But in this case, we're using a footer tag. And instead of writing footer here, right, and then writing style equals, that's what style components allows us to do. So we just write a tag, whatever we want to call it, and then we define that tag and all the styles within it up here before we return it. And that allows us to make changes per component, and that these styles are not going to go anywhere. Now we can still import global styles, but we don't have to. And a lot of times you'll do a style, or you do a global style across the whole platform, and then just import it as you need it, say like a font or a font size or a color. But in my case, I'm just adding the color within this component already. I should probably add it to a global. I might do that, just not right now. So I'm going to copy this in, and I'll explain it. So this is my CSS for this footer, and anything, well, not, okay, so yeah, I was going to say anything below it will be inherited, but that is not true. But for this right here, we have a media query, so this applies to the footer region or the footer element, and you can also add nested elements within each styled component. So that's footer. Just easy copy and paste there. And now we need to add the social. Let me find that. Component, social, and this is saying the width 100%. And saying width 100%, and I'm doing a justify content space around, which basically means, what does that mean? I think it's the outside is a little wider than the space inside. I'm not entirely sure. We can look it up, but if you see these styled here, this component's a little different because it's doing a parentheses subnav, and we don't have subnav defined yet, which I forgot to do. But what that means, it's going to inherit all the properties from subnav. So I just added subnav, and you can see here, basically, instead of having to write this twice, it's like saying that these are added right there. And that is the benefit also of doing style components, is that you can inherit from other style components within your component. Okay. And as you can see, I inherited again from the navigation, which also I forgot to write. We'll copy and paste, and I'm done. The reason why that I have so much CSS written is because at first I had this as one large navigation. I just used the same component because I thought, yeah, why not? And then when I thought of the mobile view, I thought, okay, and now I need to split these up into two. We have the footer here, and then we have the header here. So I decided to split those up into two components, and I kind of left the CSS kind of as it is. So feel free to spruce that up a bit. Maybe I'll do that, and I'll push those changes. So similar to our last navigation, we had colors on here towards the bottom, span element, and we had the green, purple, pink. But in the sub navigation, I want to use orange. It's the only color I'm going to be using, so I'm going to add those there. Again, you can add this span element. You can add it here, and if you were to do that, just basically, I think just remove this parentheses and just make it a dot span. But I'm just going to leave it as is. Okay, so those are our styled components. We are exporting. Make sure to save. I think that's everything we need. Subnav, social, link. And the link is a built-in component of Gatsby. We don't have to do anything there. We just have to import it to our component, which we did at the top. And hopefully if I refresh this, okay, it's not displaying. Oh, I know why. That's because, similar to the navigation, we have to go back to layout, and we have to add it to our layout. So this is based on the person who built this Gatsby Starter Blog, and this is the way he had the layout. This is the way he built it. So on the layout, he imports the header, the main, the footer, all components. So I just decided to go off of that, and I'm going to add the footer, which I still need to import at the top. If we go up here, if we do import footer from I think it's components / footer. Yes. Okay. You click save, and then it breaks. That's not good. I think I need to add. What's the issue? Child image sharp. I need to add the footer or the child image sharp component, which I did not do. Config. Okay. I'm just looking for the image sharp. Let's go back to the error, what it says. Cannot read property. Child image sharp of null. What is null? Data.twitter. Okay. Fix data. Go up here. Data.twitter. const data. Okay, that should work. The Twitter. Okay, so this should work because that is Twitter right there. We have a bug. We have a bug. Okay. I know what it is. I don't have the image actually set up on this yet. Okay, so that's the next step. We have to add those images. And where did I store those images? Assets. That's where they should belong. That's where they go. Okay, so I need to add the image within assets here. And why assets? Did I include that? Gatsby config. Oops. If I go to Gatsby config, this is good. This is a good learning experience. I need to load these images. I'm going to pause the video while I do that. Okay, we're back. That was the issue. I had to find those images and I had to add them to my static asset or my content assets folder. Because if we go back to footer, you can see right here that I'm referencing relative path of this is relative path, and I need to get the small or sm_twitter.png, and obviously I did not have that, and so I needed to add it in my assets folder. And when I did that, I had to restart the server, and after I did that, we were able to get this information to show up. And yeah, so we got this, and if I click this link, you can see the white URL below that appearing, and that's the URL that we set up. And if I click that, it's not going to go anywhere because it doesn't exist. And this is the 404 page, if you were curious. But if I were to click this, it should go to my LinkedIn. Hey, there I am. So yeah, that's some information about me. And if you click the Twitter or LinkedIn and email, yeah. So yep, there it is. And so that is basically, let me extend this a little. Well, let's check the mobile view. All right, perfect. So the mobile view, it's working well. The black bar is above the content, and in the next video we are going to fix this content, and we're going to update this profile pic, and yeah, we're going to fix this sizing as well. So as you can see, yeah, that's basically what we set out to do. So we have the footer here. Ooh, I don't like that. That will be updated in the next video. But yeah, so that I think wraps up this video. We set up this content, set up the footer. Pretty straightforward. Trying to think of anything else. I don't think so. I think that's it. That's a good place to leave off, and hopefully you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for the next as we update, as we continue to create this portfolio page. And thank you for watching.